Welcome to Rick and That Michelle Chick. I'm that Michelle Chick.
And I'm Rick. Welcome.
So I figured to start things off, we have some business that we need to take care of.
Okay.
So our last podcast, the last episode, it was over an hour long. So I just wanted, well, our original recording was an hour and 30 minutes.
I know, crazy.
So I tried to cut it down and not over edit it as much as possible so that it would still make sense, but also shorten it up. So last episode was an hour and 14 minutes. So I just want to apologize. And I also want to say I'm sorry for how many times I said, I think I said it 4 times in one sentence. And when I was listening back to it, I just wanted to slap myself. So I apologize for that.
Well, and that brings me up to what we call radio crutches. So it was interesting that listening back to the podcast or watching it on Spotify or whatever, I discovered that because we don't have it scripted.
We don't.
So we call it radio crutches when you, like you said, you say, I said, you know what I'm saying? That's the one my wife always gets me. Do you know what I'm saying?
I say all the time.
Those are, yep. And so those are great radio crutches is what we call them. It's when you say, and you lose your train of thought and you repeat yourself and then you explain something. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, yep, I did it quite a bit in that one. I could tell. I was like, if you were going to slap yourself, I was like double slap on myself because I had gotten into those stories and then kind of got into the weeds a little bit. So today I felt today should be a Michelle centric podcast today. All about Michelle because we didn't dig into the first kiss or any of those kind of things.
I don't know about that. I figured this episode we could dive into meet and greets and maybe radio consultants a little bit more. Listening back to that episode, you could tell I've been out of the game for a long time because if I would have taken that in as an air check last podcast episode to my program director, I would have been fired. I would have been
you're not
fired. Those fluff and filler words, we learn and are taught that, again, you only have a certain amount of time and you got to get in and get out and, keep those words out of there. Yeah. Which I just said, again.
I think one of the things I noticed too was I was eating the mic too. So I'm off the mic a little bit because I was like, it sounds like I'm eating the mic. And that's another great radio term is if you're too close to the mic, it can be kind of a little distorted sometimes. Just depends.
I was wondering if there's Razzie Awards for the worst podcast because we would definitely be in the running.
We would win.
I was like,
we would be number one at something. I'll take it.
Do not listen if you need to stay awake because we will put you to sleep. We are your melatonin. That should be our new tagline, slogan.
There you go.
I don't know. I think it's funny, but okay. Well, now that we've apologized, go ahead.
Yeah, as we say here's a great line for us in the radio business. Condense.
I don't think we're. I don't think we will.
But it's funny that you bring that up because when you watch Kevin Smith, his are hours long. Kevin Smith's are hours long in a podcast, and so I guess there's no one size fits all when you do this.
But is Kevin Smith engaging, and you want to stay listening for hours long? Where I could see where people would just think, oh my God, these two are boring me to death. And
2 minutes in, that's done. All right, next.
I mean, we did say we were full of crap, so I guess we're living up to that. I thought. Well, go ahead.
There's these great stories. Right. So we just have to, when we do the stories, just rein them in, wrangle them in.
Which my housekeeper Bobby, she's not just a housekeeper; she's more like my friend, but she was saying she's been listening to our podcast and she thought it was funny that how you just kind of veer off into the weeds and I have to try and rein you in. She noticed that right away. And I said, yeah, that's kind of been our whole lives together.
Well, it's interesting because when you do a radio show, and so when you're doing a music station, it's different when you do news talk, which you have 7 minutes to fill. Whereas in radio, you really want that radio break to be no more than 2 minutes. So even if you're set, and we call it setting the table. So let's say we're setting up a topic, right? So we'll go into the break, introduce ourselves, set the topic up, say, hey, Michele, I saw a news story where blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then you go, oh, okay. And then you respond, I respond. And then we go, hey, guys, call us with your opinions. And so we try to do that within 2 minutes.
Yeah. Without the.
Here it's a little different. Here's a little
right.
different.
Without the, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, don't worry. I was sitting there. I'm like, crutch. And that was me, not you. You sounded amazing because you never got a word in edgewise. So you sounded amazing.
No, yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I didn't want to over edit it. So I didn't, want us to sound too fake or whatever. So, okay. So I thought we could explain a little more about radio consultants. We've discussed them in a past episode. I thought maybe we could more define their role in radio. And which I remember I remember the last time Becky Brenner came to town, which I used to be so scared of her, just FYI.
Oh yeah.
We were doing mornings together and she basically had nothing to say about what we needed to improve on, which blew my mind because again, their job is to be a consultant and tell us what we need to improve on. And I think that's the first time I've ever had a consultant or someone of importance that air checks you say something like that. So I was shocked and I was super happy about it. Which we had lunch at Ding Ho's in Yakima. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Which is no longer there anymore. And I, in my fortune cookie, my fortune was something like, you're a star and all the world is your stage.
Aww.
I remember that. And I think I kept it. I have it somewhere. It's probably in my radio crap that, is packed away in storage. That's my story with Becky Brenner. Go ahead.
So consultants, there's two. Okay, it can be a kind of an adversarial situation too, because you can either have a consultant that's literally on your side, on the programming side, or you could have a consultant that is literally on management side. So it's interesting that Mark Bolke, when I took over KFFM back in the day, he got off the plane and I said, "Hey, what are we doing today, boss?" And he looked at me and goes, "No, you're the boss. What do we need to do today?" So you think of a consultant as a resource. It's a resource for the program director to do strategy for the radio station. So let's say there's 2 top 40s in a market or 2 country stations, and then you hire somebody that you believe has more knowledge than the staff you currently have to come in and help consult. So they help you devise the playlist, the imaging, the voice people, even the day parts, the talent, all of that can be helped through with a consultant. So if you got a great consultant, that could be a great relationship, and it makes for a real interesting radio battle. Now, if you get the flip side to where a consultant's coming in and they don't like you, and it's an uphill battle, that is a little harder to do.
Did you have any consultants that didn't like you, or that didn't like
Terry
you?
Patrick, absolutely. So for me, it was so funny. Cheryl once said, Cheryl's our old boss. If you're just curious, one of our old general managers. She goes, Rick, it's amazing that you only seem to like people that like you. Well, of course. Yes. Why would I like somebody who doesn't like me?
That's any of us.
So, right. So, I'm a very top 40 DJ, as Michele knows. My presentation's very top 40. And so we were doing a station in Tri-Cities, and it was kind of an AC, soft AC, and I was doing it with John Riggs. So, and it was very, if you know anything about AC, so if you think of AC which is adult contemporary, think of Delilah. Before that set, we kicked off with Billy Joel and we ended with Celine Dion.
AC would be a perfect station for me because my nickname is Soft Cell Michele. So
right. You would be a superstar at AC, but even that format today has evolved to where we're playing Whitesnake. Here I go again. So it has evolved, but 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you're playing Michael Bolton, you're playing Celine Dion, you're playing Mariah Carey and soft music. And so my presentation, no matter how much I slow myself down, then I don't sound like myself. I'm disingenuous and it doesn't even sound like me. So Terry Patrick was not a fan when I was doing Star 95.7 was not a fan. I think he's about the only one that I've ever really encountered. in that situation. Most of them have been always on the team and trying to do good things with us. So I don't know how many consultants have you worked with, Michele, through your career?
Becky Brenner was the only one that I directly dealt with. Otherwise, again, it was the program directors like you that, spent the bulk of the time with them and just relayed back to us what we needed to do or improve on.
Right. And that's pretty much it. They take a listen to the station, they monitor it, they give you advice, they go through the song list. A lot of that has changed so much. So what happened with deregulation in the late 90s? So I was working at a company called the Research Group in Seattle, and they were basically a group of consultants. So that's kind of where my programming background came from, because I could see all the safe lists, I could see the music testing, I could see all that. And they turned me, I would like to believe, into a pretty good programmer because of the knowledge. But when you started buying your competition in 1996, guess what? You didn't need anymore. A consultant. Right. So they were few and far between. They still do exist, but they were few and far in between. And if you own both country stations or both top 40s, you don't need those folks. But they're there basically. They're a sounding board. They're there to give you advice. They work also. They're usually hired by the general manager. So as long as your general manager doesn't have an agenda against you, you're going to be okay. But I've had consultants tell me in my face, "Oh, station sounds great." And then the next day they're like, "Rick, can we talk to you for a second?" "Yeah, station sounds like shit." "What? Who betrayed?" Knife in the back. So it just depends. I think that consultants serve a purpose for sure.
All right, let's move on to radio job pet peeves. All right, are you ready? I have a list.
Go for it, Michele.
I have a list.
Go for it. Do your list.
Okay. First one is not getting paid to MC, or the salespeople volunteering us to MC something. Okay. Think about it. You don't ask your surgeon, "Hey, can you volunteer this surgery?" That used to irritate me so much. And the salespeople were notorious. They would want to get this client to buy whatever it is. And so they would throw in us emceeing this event for free, and we would not get paid for it. So that's number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, those that did not complete their assigned production. We should probably define production. It's the commercials that you hear on the radio. Some of the voices, some of them are dubs that we get elsewhere, which a dub is basically just a recorded commercial that they send to us. Is that right? Did I explain that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the ones that we record, we add music, sound effects, blah, 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 blah. Those are the commercials. But basically, those of us who would get our production in and done on time would then get more production from the people who would not do their production. And you don't want a commercial not running that is scheduled to run, because that is lost money. So that's number two.
That's money.
I think this is my last one. Hold on. I had them had them all planned out in my head. Number three. Okay. I remember. Business owners who voice their own commercials or have their kids/grandkids voice it, because again, they are not professionals and they sound mush-mouthy, or they're trying to get this 60-second commercial into 30 seconds. It is fine if you bring your kids or grandkids in and a professional voices the commercial, and then the kids or the grandkids say "Merry Christmas" or whatever at the end. That is fine, but please leave it to the professionals. Don't voice your own commercial, as I'm messing up myself. I think that's it for me.
Okay. I think that there can be sometimes good sounding clients. It depends on who's voicing the spot. Yeah, some people can get it done, some people can't. A lot of people will say, "I heard you on the radio." "Oh, I heard you on the radio." Even if you're horrible, "I heard you on the radio." I will tell you, my pet peeve back in the day, and I've changed a lot about it, is it's not about necessarily doing stuff for free, because I think it is important to do stuff, but it's being wrangled into things, being told, "Well, if you don't do it, we're going to lose this client." So if you've ever seen the movie Private Parts by Howard Stern, it's probably one of the best love letters to radio you'll ever watch. Now, remember, it's not about Howard, but if you watch the movie, all the things that happen to Howard are very radio. and it's a wonderful love letter. So even if you don't like Howard, you got to watch the movie because it's great. One of the biggest things that I talk about a lot, and I'll never do it again, ever again, as long as I live, was many years ago, I got wrangled into being a celebrity bartender.
Oh.
Now, what's wrong with that picture there,
You
Michelle?
would not want to do that? I would.
We were pouring the drinks.
Oh, no. I mean,
So
no.
A couple times in my career, which I will never do again, is people misunderstand why we're there and they put us to work.
Right.
Like we're their help.
Yes.
That has happened. So that happened to me at the Yakima Sun Dome for one of the rodeos where Tom and I were supposed to be celebrity bartenders. I don't drink at all.
Right.
I don't drink.
Right. So you would have no idea what a.
So I had a bunch of pissed off cowboys about the effing foam on the top of their beer. What, because you have to pour it sideways or some bullshit like that. Yes. And so the guys were getting angry. I was so upset, so mad about it. You can still, even today, this is like 15 years ago, I'm still angry about it. I don't do it. I'm like, no, I'm there to MC. I'm there to give me some notes. What do you want me to say?
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
So I refuse because of situations like that. I don't do weddings. I don't play music for events. I don't do any of that. I just don't. And my wife always has to go to people when they say, "Oh God, Rick will be so good," and she's like, "What? He's an announcer. He's not that. He doesn't do those." And I will do those on special occasions for friends, but for the most part, it's a no-go for me because people treat you like crap.
Yes.
No, at the end of the day, they treat you like you're the helper or the servant. And I don't know, that isn't going to fly with me. And so for me, that experience being a celebrity bartender, to this day, when I get invited for things, I'm like, well, what am I doing? Oh, I'm emceeing. Okay. And I'm always like, is the script ready to go? I want to see the script. It has to be ready. Oh, another great example I'll show you. Yakima Parade. Another great example is I'm sitting there one day. I must have been having a bad day because Michelle, most of the time I'm pretty nice to people.
Yes, you are.
And so I'm sitting up on this big platform because we're doing a parade for free, and and they give you. And so 5 minutes before the parade, they give you this big. It's a notebook. Normally the equipment's not even set up. Normally the microphone, nothing's set up until 5 minutes before. So anyway, that big notebook. So I'm sitting there. Well, somehow they got the bands out of line.
Oh, no.
So it was like Mount Adams Junior High and West Valley Rams, and they were out of sequence. Well, I'm just following the book.
Right.
And they were and so next to me, I had some old codger, that's Adams Elementary. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I must have been in a bad mood that day because I looked at that guy and I said, you know how much I'm getting paid to be here? How much money I'm getting paid? I don't know. I said, zero. And I just got this book. So, and people get out on because you're doing a parade. Oh, you didn't say my name right. You phonetically didn't say my name right. Well, guess what? They put it in the book. They don't phonetically spell it out. No. So you're going, yeah, there's Joe. And they're like, that's not my name. Well, so I'm real picky about those things nowadays. I used to do them because we were almost, and Michelle, we were almost guilted back in the day into doing those things, and we weren't given choices. And today I really stand up for like, nope, not going to happen that way. But they used to they'd make it say, oh, if you don't do it, we're not going to get a buy.
Yes. Again, that's the salespeople, guilting us into it.
It's contingent. We're not going to get a $500 buy if you don't do the parade for free. Yeah. So there's two instances where it's like, now on the flip side, best story for you ever, down in Zilla, you and I were doing country mornings, and I'm definitely not your typical country DJ. And so we're down at a Zilla bar doing an event, and this construction worker walks over. He must be 6'6", 6'7", massive dude. I'm like, oh God, here he comes. And he's like, Rick, I want to talk to you. I'm like, oh crap. He is not going to, because I'm not the normal country radio DJ guy. He walks right up and goes, I just want to shake your hand. Oh God, I love your show. And so it teaches you not to judge a book by a cover either. Right. But it was still funny because I said that guy in his hand could have crushed my whole head.
If he didn't like you or had a beef, with you.
I love the show. Love you guys. I was like, oh God, he's gonna break me in half. He's gonna snap me.
Is that
so? There's some stories.
Are those your only pet peeves? with the job that you can think of?
Well, long time. So
right.
left.
Yes.
I mean, you're out. They don't play. They don't
There's
play like that
nobody
anymore.
else to do it.
Yeah, there's nobody. So you either do it or you don't. So I was trying to think. We're supposed to, interesting enough, you mentioned the production or the commercials. You're supposed to have 24-hour turnaround on that.
That was not always the case.
No. And another great story. It happened to me on Christmas Eve.
Oh goodness.
Tina Bond. Sorry, Tina, if you're listening. Tina Bond, a great AE. Love Tina dearly. But I was the last person in the building one year in Yakima, and it was 3:00 in the afternoon on Christmas Eve, and she dropped 20 spots that had to start. And she left. Oh, see you later. I was the only person in the building, 20 commercials. So guess what I did with those 20 commercials? She was notoriously, she would not write the right amount of length copy-wise.
So you had to voice them, produce them, put them together?
Yep. So it became rip and read Rick to where if she wrote a 30-second spot and it was 20 seconds, guess how long that spot was?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. I banged
with
through
just
those 20.
10 seconds of music at the end.
Yep. Oh no, I didn't do that.
I'm
like, no, I'm like, your spot's 20 seconds. This will teach you to, yeah. I did that many years ago, but I was like, on Christmas Eve.
That's horrible.
That's bah humbug. So yeah. So those days are pretty much over with for the most part, but it is crazy. Yes. It was the Wild West, and they really used, like we talked about earlier, guilt. Yes. It was all about, if you don't, you'll lose your job. Right. And we love radio. That's the one thing that owners or general managers or program directors or even consultants have over your head is you love this job so much that you're willing to die for it. And so they use that. They, number one, they pay you crappy wages. I mean, we might as well dispel that rumor, unless you're Ryan Seacrest, unless you're Howard Stern, unless you're a big morning guy.
Right, which I think we discussed this in a past episode.
They don't pay. And then they use your love against you, basically. Well, if you don't do it, we'll find somebody. Oh, the greatest line ever in radio, you'll never work in radio again.
Oh, yes.
Remember when you get threatened by that? Well, if we let you go, you'll never work in radio again.
Yep. I think it was more difficult for me because I was part-time, and as a morning show, you want to do things all together. And so any of that kind of stuff, I would not get paid to do. And one of you would be getting paid to do it. But because I was the part-timer, I would not get paid. And but we would still all want to do it as a morning show together. So that happened a lot.
It did. And when you look back, and it's so funny, our good friend Cheryl, I one time confronted her about that, and she looked at me and she goes, "You could have said no."
Ouch.
Wow. I went, wow. And when you're the lead of the morning show, then if you say no to everything, then you're the a-hole.
Yes.
No, but you're the a-hole then.
Yeah.
You're the a-hole. And it's like, I don't want to leave my, it's like, it's almost like you're in the army. You don't want to leave soldiers behind.
Yeah.
You want to be on the front line. And that was one of the first lessons I learned. That's one of the first lessons I learned at KFFM, because I got enamored with the record rep money and different things, or not me getting record, but doing, I did a couple flyaways and different things. Meanwhile, there was events that I should have been at as the program director that reflected poorly on me because I wasn't there. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned, was you got to be with the team.
Right. Besides lying to me. Okay.
Because things go wrong. Well, things go wrong. So.
They do. Okay. Is that it? Can we move on? Are you done?
Pet peeves.
Yep. Check that one off. All right.
No celebrity bartending ever again.
Yeah. I would just want to be there to look pretty. I would not be wanting to work and pour drinks.
Again,
absolutely not.
I have been to things where they put you to work. Like my co-host Patty one day, City of Kennewick, they're like, "Oh, you need to go park cars." I'm like, "What the?" And she's out there with an orange vest parking cars. I'm like, "What the son of
Remember when Downtown Summer Nights first started? We were labor.
Yes.
We were labor to set stuff up. Yep. Okay.
And even in Tri-Cities too, just so you know, in Tri-Cities too. So staging and all that, they do a Downtown Summer Nights too. Yeah.
All right. Now we're just airing our grievances. Let's move on. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody. Favorite meet and greets. So I have a few, which my very first meet and greet ever was probably one of my favorites. It was with Garth Brooks in the Tacoma Dome. I know, right? Crazy. I was 18 years old. This is when I was working at KXWD doing overnight weekends. And the only reason that I even got to go was because nobody else wanted to go. I mean, that was it. That was the only reason, because, part-time people get nothing. I have never been to a concert. I have never been to a meet and greet. So I had no idea what to expect. It was myself and my sister-in-law, Kim, who I took to the concert. And it was just her, me, and Garth Brooks in this room in the Tacoma Dome for like 15 to 20 minutes. He sat across from us, like really close. It was uncomfortably close, because I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God, this is Garth Brooks. This is Garth Brooks. You're freaking out. You don't know what to say. He's trying to ask us questions, normal everyday questions. He was trying to be very personal. He could probably tell that we were just freaking out. And then he brought this huge stack of t-shirts. He signed every single one of them. He gave them to us. That's probably one of my favorites. Taylor Swift also, I think, kind of tailored her meet and greets similar to how Garth Brooks did his early on in her career. And then probably one of my other favorites, which this is surprising, because I'm not a huge Keith Urban fan. I like some of his songs, but I'm not over the moon. Oh my God, I love Keith Urban. And usually at a meet and greet, they'll ask you your name. And then I had a friend with me, and he asked her name, and you kind of chit chat and you take a photo, and then you just leave. Well, Keith turns around as we're walking away, and he says in his little Australian accent, "It was so nice to meet you, Michele." That was a horrible imitation of an Australian accent. And I did not catch it. I mean, I don't know why, but my friend, she pointed out, she's going to stop. So she goes, "Oh my God, he remembered your name," which never ever happens. So that really stuck in my mind as super impressive. He also smelled so good, I have to say.
Megan will say that.
Yes. He smelled so good. I even Googled trying to find what kind of cologne he wears so that I could buy it and make my husband wear it. But I mean, there's multiple different ones.
Tulia or something. There was something. Megan mentioned it too when she met him backstage at the Gorge. Said, "Oh my God, he smells so good."
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, there's some, and every woman I've ever met has said smells delicious.
Which you haven't met many. It's probably just been a few of us.
I've stood next to Keith and I didn't sniff him, but I know that the ladies did and they loved it.
Well, I mean, we got to hug him, so that's probably why. Right. So, and then this is not my favorite meet and greet, but my sons, Matthew and Benjamin, they were huge Smash Mouth fans, and they were at the Puyallup Fair. And so I got 4 meet and greets for the 2 of them. And then Benjamin's, at the time, girlfriend, Haley, now his wife, and Matthew took a friend, and they had meet and greets. And I expected that they would text me that they were on their way home from the show after it ended. So, like 10:30, 11-ish. They're still, Matthew's a senior in high school, so he's 18. They drove themselves there by themselves, parked, everything. I don't even think they've been to the Puyallup Fair ever in their lives. So as a mom, of course, I'm worrying and wondering, okay, they should be on their way home. There was no Life 360 at the time, so I couldn't track their location. And
okay,
exactly. And so I text him, "Hey, are you guys headed home?" And Matthew responds something like, "No, we're having dinner with Smash Mouth." And in my mind, I'm thinking, what? What? So I text him back and I say, "Excuse me, why are you having dinner with Smash Mouth?" And he said, "Well, they invited us." And I said, "Well, they're just being nice. You don't say yes." And he basically said, "Why shouldn't I?" But yeah, they had dinner with Smash Mouth. One of the members called one of the girls as a dad's that was with them and left a voicemail. So yeah, that was probably it's a good story. They had a fun time having dinner with Smash Mouth, and they were super nice to them. They, again, were engaged and sat with them at the table, were asking them questions. And I'm thinking, these are high schoolers. This poor band is stuck with these poor high schoolers. But yeah, so that's our story. Those are my favorites. So
yeah, I think you got a couple good ones for me because I've never met Garth.
Oh, you haven't? I've met him twice.
I've not.
I've met him twice.
Yep, Garth and then Taylor.
Met her twice.
I did. Taylor and I. Well, I was. It was when Taylor was coming up. I was in Nashville, and my friend Donna knows Taylor. So Taylor came out, but I always tell people Taylor came out of the Coliseum or whatever, and this is before she was famous. And so my friend Donna talked to her, but Donna did not introduce me to Taylor, even though I was next to Taylor. So to me, I don't go, oh, I met Taylor Swift. No, because they didn't go, hi. Oh, Donna didn't go, oh, this is my friend
You
Rick.
were just standing next to her?
Then I could say, yeah, just standing next to Taylor Swift. But I mean, I do, when I was in Bakersfield, her first song, Tim McGraw, I did get a plaque, signed by Taylor because we were one of the first stations on it. So I do have some memorabilia from that. So here's a couple good stories. I mean, I've been fortunate. There's some biggies I haven't met, but I've met some biggies too. So, but the best ones are the ones that you don't least expect. So my very first meet and greet was Michael Bolton at the Beasley Coliseum and it's at the height of his career. So 1990, and it was my first music director job. And the best piece of advice, which I did pass on to Cephas later down the road, was Don Kelly was the afternoon guy, and he goes, oh, you're going backstage. And he was one of those old-time disc jockeys, big old porn mustache. Oh, so you're going smoking a cigarette. So you're going backstage to meet Michael Bolton. Let me give you a couple pieces of advice. And he goes, what you need to do is you need to hang back. He goes, if it's like you hang back and the artist will spend more time with you. And he goes, and don't be excited. Don't act, don't be crazy.
Right, treat them like normal, like a normal person.
Yes, and he goes, people are going to be all over him, and you don't do that. They're going to talk to you. So anyway, we get there. My first wife and we get there, and I told Pokey, I said, Pokey, hang back. We'll be last in line. And so again, just showing you how people are. There was a meet and greet, and some people were asking stupid questions, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys, So then he walks up. We're last in line. Oh, what's your name? Oh, Rick, nice to meet you. And what's your name? She goes, Dorothy, which is Pokey's real name. And he goes, oh, that's my mom's name. And so her and Michael Bolton had this conversation. And so I was probably, I was young. I was 23 years old. But that was the first lesson I learned, that when you're in the presence of a rock star or, any of these meet and greets, don't flip out, act normal, hang back, be cool. They'll come to you and you're going to get a better experience. And then, of course, one of my favorite ones of all time is with Logan when he was 6. We went and saw NSYNC in Spokane, and we're backstage, and this thing is a massive line of screaming, giggling, just falling down, crying. They're probably pissing their pants. Oh my God, it's NSYNC. And Justin Timberlake was there. He's part of it. And so Logan looks up at me. He's 6 years old and goes, Dad, what's wrong with them? I said, well, Logan, they have a disease.
Oh, goodness.
He goes, but so Logan, to this day, he's 31. He still has his autographed NSYNC CD that has Justin Timberlake, even though he admits he's too cool to admit that but he still has it. He still has the CD. Yeah. And then another funny one with Logan was when he got to be a teenager, he got to be a little shit. So he was 11 or 12 and he was visiting me in Bakersfield, and we went to Fresno to see Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Now, it was funny is Logan was at that time, no, I hate country music. I hate it all.
Logan better not have been a shit to Tim McGraw.
Oh, I was worried. Oh, no. So I was worried. I was like, oh God, he's gonna embarrass me. So what happened was, Tim McGraw was doing the In the Round with the backstage listeners. So we did not expect to meet Tim McGraw. So the listeners did not get to meet Tim McGraw, because that's what they've recently done. Is nowadays they make you do a big group photo. They don't do individual photos. If you're Kenny Chesney, if you're a big star, you're doing a group photo these days, not individual snapshots. So we were there in Fresno, and he was in the round, and he performed, did a couple songs. And, hey, thanks guys for coming out, blah, blah, blah. Well, the record rep taps on my shoulder and says, hey, we're going to sneak over here, and Tim and Faith want to come over and meet you guys. So I was like, whoa. So they presented us with these plaques. So like there's records, see that record back there?
Is
So there
that
was a
one of
couple.
the ones you gave me?
No. So it was for the
Oh.
station. So remember my rule is if it doesn't have my name, I don't take it. So it got stuck there. So I'm talking to Logan. I'm nudging him. I'm like, hey, they're gonna come back here. I said, you better. I was like, and I was on him and I was whispering to him, and I was like, if you screw this up, I'll kill you. So Tim comes in, Faith comes in. You don't get to see them both together usually ever. And Logan's eyes just get like this. And he was polite and nice, shook their hands.
Good.
And it's still one of his favorite photos. It's on my Facebook page. One of his favorite photos, big shit-eating grin. He was happy. And then it's funny is through the years, Logan is the one who calls me and goes, hey, do you have backstage to Rachel Platten or Lone Star? And so I don't go to these backstage, but he does. Right. And so he's and then he got to be a little radio snob kid to where it's like, well, where's our tickets?
Oh.
I'm like, no, you don't ever get to say, where's our tickets?
Or what? We're not going backstage to this?
So going back to another radio pet peeve, I hate when you give away free tickets and the first word out of their mouth is, where's my seats? You're giving something for free. I don't care if it's nosebleed.
Right. You are fortunate enough to go to this concert. There are people that would die or kill, especially if it's a sold out concert or their favorite artist. You name it.
Absolute rude. And then when we talk about meet and greets, and we talked about this earlier, was depends on what artist is performing, but the meet and greet's done before the show. And so I've had people get upset. Oh, I missed the opening act. I didn't get to talk about my mom's cancer treatment with them. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Keith Urban doesn't have time.
Right.
That was at Trace Atkins, actually, but it happened, So I've encountered quite a few. I've encountered some amazing, grateful people. And then I've encountered some really entitled people.
Right.
And they go, that's it. Yeah, that's called a cattle call.
Right. You get, you get 3 seconds. You will line all up and then it's like bing, 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 bing. Picture.
And a lot of people, and I like how you said that because a lot of people can relate. So if you go to Comic-Con these days and it's William Shatner, it's whoever, and you're, supernatural and everything 90s retro, it is 2.5 seconds. Click, thanks, click,
right.
Thanks,
and those you
click,
have to
thanks,
pay for.
Click, big money these days. So yeah, so I like when people are grateful, but the biggest lesson you can learn, if you want any tips, if you're ever meeting a famous person, hang back, be cool, be chill, and then treat them like a normal person. I will say, as you already know, my undying love for Richard Page.
I was waiting for you to bring this up. I figured this would be your favorite meet and greet.
Well, for me, it is. It is because for me, that's the mountain for me. And a lot of people are like, who? If you know the song Broken Wings, if you know the song Kyrie, which were #1 smashes in the 80s, they're my boys. That's my music. That's my group. And I'm a diehard. And so, and the difference between my guy and everybody else's guy is he doesn't tour. He just doesn't tour. He's a big songwriter. So 30 years he didn't tour. And so you didn't know where he lived. You didn't have access to him. And it was funny, by sheer accident in 2009, he released a Christmas song and he was on MySpace of all places. So and it said, do not send personal messages.
Oh.
And I sent a personal message saying, hey, my name is Rick and I'm in the Tri-Cities at a station, Star 95.7. Would love to interview you about the Christmas song. Well, his brother jumps on. His brother's name's Rob. I'm friends with Rob on Facebook. And Rob goes, hey, Rick, he'd love to do an interview with you. And I went, oh my God, man. And I did my fangirl. No, the only time in history where I fangirled out. And Rob, his brother, wrote back and goes, he puts his pants on one leg at a time like the rest of us. So I love that Rob, his brother, shut me down. Like he goes, he's my little brother that I used to pick on, and give him noogies
Right.
So he goes, he's not that big.
My fangirl meet and greet would be Tim McGraw and Sam Hunt. Normally I'm chill, again, because you taught us to hang back, be the last in the line and ask them questions maybe that
that's the one thing I felt like I brought as a
right.
Yep. And you get more time with them. So yeah. And then there's been a lot of great ones. I can't recall any bad ones. Usually you're rushed. Like Rascal Flatts was like 600 people.
Right.
there's been different ones that I've done where it's been pretty rushed, but most of the time people are pretty cool.
I think Brad Paisley's was bad, but that was because of his manager.
Okay, so you mean at the bull bash?
No,
or
this was at
Brad's
Watershed.
very shy. So Brad is shy though. He's kind of that. He is not an over the top like, So you are going to encounter artists that are actually pretty shy and not over the top, and a lot of and Michele, a lot of people take it as they're being rude,
right?
And they're not. They're just and interesting thing. And you just made a great point about managers. The manager's job is to keep you away from their artist.
Right.
So they will tell you something at the start of a meet and greet. They're like, don't you look at him cross-eyed. Don't you try to hug him. And then Garth will come in and give you a hug.
Right.
And you're like, well, wait a minute. I can't hug him because I was told not to hug Garth.
Yeah.
But the manager's job is, to keep his artist safe, I guess. And so he'll say crap that sometimes isn't even real.
Well,
like, because you'll talk to Garth and go, oh, I was told I couldn't ask you about that. And they're like, oh,
what?
No,
what? Yeah.
Right.
Well, again, we were at Watershed, and a lot of meet and greets, you have to line up and blah, 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 blah. But there was a few people that weren't right up against the fence. And he was like yelling constantly, get up against the fence.
The manager.
Yes, the manager, not Brad. Brad is not here yet.
Yep.
Get up against the fence.
Right.
I said, if you don't get up against the fence, this meet and greet is not going to happen. So everybody was scared shitless by the time that Brad got there and is shell shocked, I think. But Brad was super nice. He was.
And then Brad is so soft spoken and nice and totally opposite your experience. Like, whoa, what just happened?
It was crazy.
Yeah, and you get those. You get those. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get tossed out of a meet and greets, but
I don't think I have either.
Seen some people, but they can. If you're unruly, if you're too crazy, they'll get you out. They'll get you out of there. And you and I we could go on for hours about all the artists. Just a ton.
Well, you touched on some of the rules that they tell us at meet and greets. And there are a few that stuck in my mind because I'm thinking someone has had to have done this for this to be a rule.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Right. So one of Luke Bryan's is don't hump his leg. That was one of the rules. So obviously somebody has tried this or done this. And I think one of Chrissy Young's is don't kiss him. I think something about that.
Yeah.
And then Jason Aldean would not sign. So we get a little sticker, I guess you could call it, that you have to stick on yourself to go backstage.
The backstage.
And Jason Aldean he will not sign them if they are stuck to any part of your body, which I understand if they're like stuck to your boob or your butt, that's not appropriate because they have to sign it. But any part of your body.
You have to take it off and then he'll sign it.
He would not sign it unless you took it off. So that's just some of the things I encountered. Have you encountered any weird rules that you can remember?
No, one time it was funny. We were doing one of the meet and greets. The manager had a gun on him. That was kind of funny, so he's getting, well, he wasn't going to shoot anybody, but it was funny how he's getting people in line. And I think one of the other DJ goes, oh God, he's packing. He's got because he opened his coat and he see a gun. You're like, oh crap. So, but I think I was going to say the nice thing about the NSYNC one was there was a table between the girls and NSYNC. So someone was smart enough to have a table. Yeah. So they were sitting down and signing. That way the kids, the teenagers couldn't get unruly and, try to, go over the table or anything. And they always, and they have security. That for groups like NSYNC or Justin Timberlake, the pop artists, they definitely have security. And then, it's interesting too, that the nice thing about it is you do some artists, you actually get to know better than just, the meet and greet. So a great example, James Otto, who's from Benton City. His brother-in-law is Jay DeMarcus of Rascal Flatts. So James Otto's a good one. You and I both know Sir Mix-a-Lot to some extent. I've had dinner. We did 12 Tribes. I co-hosted American Idol with Sir Mix-a-Lot. And so our suites were right next to each other, which was kind of a cool experience. His girlfriend really well. You guys are best buds. So, but it's kind of cool to get to know people on a different, I guess, because he's a real person too.
Yeah.
And so I always, so whenever I run into his girlfriend on occasion, I love when she goes, "Oh yeah, Anthony was talking about you." What? Sir Mix-a-Lot still talks about me? She goes, "Yeah, she's wondering what you're up to."
Oh.
So it's kind of cool when and I'll give you another great example of not abusing it is because Richard Page is my absolute favorite of all time. I reach out to him once a year to wish him a happy
I was
birthday
just gonna say
on
on
his
his birthday when you said once a year.
on his birthday because I have his personal email.
Oh.
I have his and he
He
responds
does
every time like,
respond?
"Hey Rick, every time.
Oh.
Hey Rick, hope things are well with you." But I don't ever be to me, it's like I don't ever want to take advantage of.
Right.
Now, the funny thing on Facebook, because he doesn't do social
Mhm.
media, but his manager, I'm friends with his manager. I'm friends with his brothers. So I mean, they friended me. It wasn't like I went out and went, "Oh, I'm gonna friend them."
You have
But
an
it was so
in
funny.
with his whole family basically, and Richard
Right.
Page.
But you get to know people at a different level, and then you realize, oh, they're cool. They're just like everybody else, and then they have the same issues and same problems. They may, they're famous, and that's the cool thing. So yeah, there are several, just several artists that we've just gotten to know through the years, and and I love it. It's kind of cool, but I always feel like you don't take advantage of those
Right.
situations. Oh, that's right, because Richard Page did a greeting at my wedding. I forgot.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did. So, yeah, he did yeah, so I have it recorded somewhere where it's like, "Hey, it's Richard Page, just wanna wish Megan and Rick, happy
Oh,
nuptials, blah, blah,
that's
blah."
sweet.
So,
That is special.
yeah, so
That's truly special.
that is special.
And this is
So
before
this is cool.
Cameo.
This is before Cameo,
Yes.
yeah. My guy's not even on Cameo. My guy don't do
where now you
anything,
could buy
so
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, you could, and that's not a bad way. I mean, that's not a bad way to
No.
go. I mean, if you want, I think that there's a lot of. I think what's really changed in our industry. You make up a great point. Back in the day, the meet and greet was not sold. It used to be
Yep.
special, and it was basically radio people and maybe a few fan club members.
Mhm.
Now they sell it.
Oh, yeah. It's just another avenue to make
So
money.
right, and so it's they call it it's another revenue
Yep.
stream. So now if you want to go meet Chicago, if you want to, some artists, you're paying, Britney Spears, what was that, $1,400? So you didn't go do it.
No.
You didn't go do it, but you thought
No,
about
and
it.
then somebody told me when J-Lo, not this time when she was in Vegas, but quite a few years ago, she had meet and greets for sale, and I think they were 10 grand. 10
Woo!
grand.
Well, you just saw Gene Simmons of Kiss. You could be his roadie for 12,000.
Woo!
Like, wow. Sorry, our RP is the only person getting that kind of money from me.
Do you get to put on his makeup? Gene Simmons for him.
Yeah.
Dab him with
And
the white
so
makeup.
I think the cool thing is I think Rick Springfield did it for $1,000, but it was for charity, and I thought, okay, that's
right.
cool.
Yeah. Which some
But
go
you,
ahead.
yeah, but you and I have been so fortunate. We've met I mean, I feel like I've met almost. I mean, it's cool meeting people, but I feel like I've met almost everybody
Right.
that I would want to on my bucket
Right.
list.
I mean,
There's still there's still folks out there I haven't.
right.
But
Tim McGraw and Sam Hunt were my bucket list people, and I met them. And those were probably the only two artists. Normally in a meet and greet line, when normally we go with fans that we've given meet and greets to, and I'm usually trying to calm them down, tell them to, they're
Oh, yeah.
normal
Follow
people,
the
just
rules.
ask them questions. I'm trying to calm them down because they're all freaking out. But this was not the case when I was in line for Tim McGraw and Sam Hunt. And again, my sister-in-law was with me, and she's been to multiple meet and greets with me. And she
couldn't do it, huh?
she asked me, "What is wrong with you?" Like, what is wrong with you? This is not how you are in line at meet and greet. And I had to ask her, what do I say to Tim McGraw? What do I say to him?
Yeah.
And that made her freak out because I'm freaking out, and usually I'm the calm, rational one. So yeah, they're just people.
The only it's so hilarious is the only person I ever get giddy around, which I've met him multiple times now, is Richard Page. That's it. And I don't know why. I'm a giddy schoolgirl, and it's like I know the guy. I mean, it's not like I'm a stranger to him. And it's so funny that I still shiver or I still get goosebumps. I'm like, wait a minute, but I don't know why. Because you just admire them, or you
we look up to them. Right.
You do, and it's like, and so I think that's the only one to this day. No matter how many times I've gone back, I've been invited. Rick, you coming back? I go back, and I'm still, I'm just, he's the He's my high school crush.
Which I think some of the best meet and greets for me have been the ones that I've given away my personal meet and greet to someone, which I think the last time I was at the Central Washington State Fair, it was Tanya Tucker, and we had given away, I was working for the Bolt, we had given away all our meet and greets to go backstage to meet Tanya. And of course, I had my personal ones, and there had been a listener that had been waiting, and obviously she didn't win. Her name didn't get called. And she really wanted to go backstage to meet her because she had met her a long, long time ago when Tanya had came, I don't know, 20 years ago, and she had gone with her grandma, and her grandma had since passed. So this was really important for her to go backstage again. And after we'd given them all away and she didn't win, I pulled her off to the side and said, hey, I want you to have my personal meet and greets because this is going to mean more to you. And I want you to go and be able to see her again. And she got teary-eyed and she hugged me. And that is the best feeling in the world. Instead of actually going back yourself, giving it to someone who really, truly is a fan and really appreciates it and wants to go. So that's probably some of my favorites.
Well, for me, I've done the same thing. I was at the Crystal Palace in Bakersfield at Buck's Place, and I think Rodney Atkins was performing, and there was this little kid named Jacob, and he was a little crippled boy, and he was right next to where you go backstage for the meet and greets, and it was him and his mom were there. His mom's name's Sheila, and Jacob was there, and he goes, "Oh, Rick, are you going backstage?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, it was such a great show," and I said, "You know what? Why don't you and your mom go backstage?" And he just his eyes lit up, and he just great, and then. Multiple times. One of the things that I did as a program director is if there was an artist, and Michele, you know this, if there was an artist you wanted to see, we would do our best to get you that backstage.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't, now I've worked with a lot of program directors that would no, I'm going backstage. Yes. So don't get me, that's another great radio pet peeve. Many years ago, we used to do these concerts in Lewiston when I was working at the radio station there. And every year we would do the concert at the park, I would have to be on the board, running the board. And so one year I'd asked the program director, I said, "Hey, I never get to go to the concert in the park, ever." And this was Rick Springfield coming through, the Bangles, you name it, whoever's coming through. And this year, that year, it's funny, it was Three Dog Night of all people, but still it was the point of going to the show, not having to run the board. And I'd ask the program director, and sure enough, on the day of, "Hey, Rick, we really need you on the board." We really, yeah. So I made it a point, and I was 20 something back then. So I've always made it a point with my own staff that if there was an artist that you wanted to see, I've always joked, outside of Richard Page, there's nobody else matters to me. So yeah. That's it.
Right, which I think you helped facilitate the Tim McGraw meet and greet for me because we had to wrangle, again, our consultant, Becky Brenner, with her connections. Because
she needed bigger. Yeah, she had bigger juice. Right. It's so funny. You wouldn't, in a market like Yakima, you're not going to get that now.
Oh, no.
Now, there was still a little juice left. But now, after 10 years, the juice is pretty much gone in small markets. Now, the best, I will also tell you this, too, another great example about meet and greets and backstages is your best shot of meet and greets and going backstage is when they're in town.
Oh, yeah.
So if they're playing the Yakima Sundome, if they're playing the Gorge, if they're playing the Toyota Center, you wanting to go to Portland or go to Seattle, it can get done, but it's a lot harder because those radio stations are going to get priority long before you are in Yakima, Washington, or Tri-Cities. So the best time to see an artist or get to meet an artist is when they're in your hometown.
Right. Which before I left radio, I was trying to get as many I was a meet and greet whore.
I know you were.
But again, I was
whore. I am a whore.
Now I'm going to have to mark us as explicit. Last episode, you said
he called her a whore.
Fuck, and I had to mark us as explicit. But Yes, because I was working part-time and doing all this stuff and not getting paid. And you even, you were, yes,
that
do
was your
it.
payment.
Yeah, get as many as you possibly
can.
can.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I said, crank up. Yeah, go to as many as you want. Absolutely.
And some of them did not expect to get. Blake Shelton was one of them. Kitty Chesney, I finally was able to get and completely surprised me. So yeah.
Yep. You just never, again, you just don't know.
You gotta ask.
But I've always said the best time to see an artist is when they're coming up or going down. when they're at the pinnacle, like right now, Michelle, good luck getting some Taylor Swift backstage.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that would never happen.
Yeah, I'm just saying there comes a point, Pink's another great example of an artist that you probably got going up. Got a backstage for, but
Lady Gaga.
Yeah, these are huge artists now that they're so limited, and they're going to give them to the big stations. They're going to give them to Seattle, or they're going to give them to, and even then they're going to be limited on what they get. So,
all right. Well, you know what? We've almost hit an hour, so let's just wrap this up so that we don't keep going longer, so we can end episode 4. Maybe next episode we could discuss stalkers. We haven't talked about that yet.
Oh, radio stalkers or food that comes to the front desk. All those. Your fans? Michelle? Yeah, well, you can talk about. Do you have radio fans?
Yeah, stalkers.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Especially as a female, like I think more so me than you.
You're more likely to get them than me. Yeah,
I have some stories. We could talk about radio stunts and contests. We haven't talked about any of those.
Oh yeah.
And then fake radio names, why our names are fake. Which will probably tie in with stalkers too.
Because we talked about how I have a fake name, but somebody else has a fake last name.
Right, that would be me. At least my first name is real.
My first name's real. That's part of my middle name. No. So we'll talk about Rick. My middle name's Frederick.
Oh, okay.
You forget, I'm Frederick. Okay. Isn't that where Rick comes from? Frederick.
It's a stretch, but okay.
It's a stretch, huh?
I'm kidding. Okay, well, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening to Rick and that Michelle chick.